side of the Syrian civil war and the battle against ISIS. This already complex business with lots of hostile actors on the ground just grew even more dangerous. The U.S. backing Syrian rebels has shot down a Syrian Air Force jet. And Russia, backing its client, the regime of Bashar al-Assad, is now threatening to do the same to U.S. pilots. Add to that Iran firing off ballistic missiles at ISIS in the very same theater. We have Fox team coverage. Brett Baer at the United Nations with the international reaction to the situation. We begin with national security correspondent Jennifer Griffin at the Pentagon. Good evening, Jennifer.
Good evening, James. It's the first time since 1999 that a U.S. jet has shot down another warplane in air-to-air combat. The last 24 hours have shown just how crowded and complicated the battle space in Syria is, raising concerns that the U.S. may find itself in a proxy war, not just with Russia, but also Iran.
A day after a U.S. Navy F-18 fighter jet downed a Russian-made Syrian warplane near Raqqa, Russian officials warned that U.S. and coalition warplanes operating west of the Euphrates River over Syrian government-controlled areas would now be tracked as potential targets.
We call on everybody to avoid unilateral actions, to respect, I stress once again, Syria's sovereignty, and to join our work, which is coordinated with the Syrian government.
The Russian Defense Ministry announced it would no longer use a deconfliction hotline established to prevent mishaps. But the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General Joe Dunford, said the hotline is still operating.
We have an effective link between our Air Operations Center in Qatar and the Russian Federation on the ground. When I left the building this morning, we're still been communicating over the last few hours.
U.S. Central Command said the coalition warned the Syrian plane through the Russian hotline to stay away after the Syrians ignored a show of force by a U.S. F-18 flyby and bombed the U.S. trained forces. The American pilot got the order to shoot down the Syrian jet, killing its pilot. U.S. Central Command issued the following statement, quote, "The coalition does not seek to fight Syrian regime, Russian or pro-regime forces partnered with them, but will not hesitate to defend coalition or partner forces from any threat." The Pentagon has positioned more warplanes over Syria.
I'm confident our forces have the capability to take care of themselves.
Today, Iran's Revolutionary Guard issued a stark warning to ISIS militants after firing 6 ballistic missiles across Iraq into ISIS strongholds not far from U.S.-backed forces in eastern Syria Sunday.
Tehran is not London or Paris. It was a small action we carried out. If they make a mistake, deadlier strikes will be blown to them.
Drone footage released by the Iranian Sunday is said to show the Iranian missiles hitting the ISIS targets. Retaliation, Tehran said, for 2 recent terror attacks claimed by ISIS, one on Iran's parliament that killed more than a dozen people.
The U.S. was not given any warning about the Iranian missiles. Earlier this month, the U.S. shot down an Iranian drone in southern Syria. This is the 4th time in a month the U.S. military has fired on pro-regime forces backed by Russia and Iran. James?